That's what really, YouTube just does what it wants to do. I apologize, you guys. I was not even ready. But YouTube is gonna do what it want to do, when it want to do, how it want to do. So give me just a moment, you guys. We're gonna get started in just a moment. All right. I am sorry I'm late, but it's hard being a one-man production show. Okay. It really is. And I've been like, I have been asking the Most High God to send me a team and to make this shit run smooth. Because, baby, this is rough. So let me get this other platform set up. But welcome in, you guys. This is the first episode from the Trending Psychic podcast. Okay. So, as you guys know, this platform is kind of shifting into both a podcast slash reading environment over here until we do what we're gonna do, how we're gonna do it. Okay. um YouTube is not familiar with my ways, but just to let you guys know, I'm never still, I'm never stuck. I'm always ready to get shifted into the next platform, into the next level and assignment. And so this is my next assignment, and the expansion on this is going to be so amazing. So shout out to you for being here for the very, very first episode. And boom. All right, let me see. Have some patience with me, you guys, please. Let's get started. I think we're good to go. We are good to go. Period. There we are. There we are. I didn't even have time to put my chapstick on, but I am so excited. And I'm just going to allow the mishaps of my first launch to be how it's going to be. But yeah, welcome. Welcome. Let me see. Let me see. All right. Okay. I think we good. Okay. Well, let me wipe you down a little bit. Hi, y'all. Hi, y'all. Yes. So tonight it's not going to be a reading. No, we are conversing. Okay. So hopefully you shared this topic with your friends, your family, so that we can have a powerful discourse today. Poly versus monogamy, and not in a competitive way, but in a conversational way, right? We're going to have this discourse about those of you who have been following the trending topic of polyamorous. Now, I've been on this topic and been watching silently from the sidelines for about 3 or 4 years now. So just to kind of let you guys know, this is not a topic that I've just stumbled upon. This is one that I've sat on the sidelines and really just watched to see how it would eventually evolve, how it was going. I kind of picked up on the energy. It came out a couple of times. I've talked to several individuals personally who adopt that lifestyle, very different individuals. So I think even though I don't have the history or participate in it, I have talked with people who do, and I've seen various sides of it. So let me just kind of give you an idea of how this is going to flow. Um, Let me just see. Also, too, I brought this conversation up too because I get a lot of requests for friends. Okay, so I see the conversations. Is someone going to come back to me? Are we going to make it? Is it a third party? Is this person cheating? Which are all conversations that surround not only monogamy but also polygamy. I have to. I guess I should have found the conversation. So today we're going to talk about infidelity and cheating, how that goes into polyamorous relationships, third party connections, karmic relationships and soul ties, commitment, loyalty, and boundaries. And we also going to show some scriptures, like where it has happened, you know, where it has happened. Okay. So tonight the conversation is live. I hope y'all don't be shy. We've had many people talk to. It could never be me. It will never be me. I've had some people say, I don't mind living this way, but I do want to tell you something here. Let's get into this because I feel like it's a twofold situation with polyamorous relationships and also monogamous relationships because I feel on one hand, first of all, thank you. Let's go ahead and let's get the description. Let's get the description of what poly means. Before I get into let's get into that. And please, I'm not the expert and this is not an echo chamber. Please do enter your opinion in the comment section respectfully. Please do feel free to answer questions. And also too, if you would like to support the platform, support the conversation, you can click the link in the bio and you could actually send me a comment, donate to the platform. But polyamory, is it polygamy or poly? I think it's multiple definitions. Polygamy and polyamory. Those are two, there's two things. So polygamy, let's clarify poly, because I said poly, but there's actually polygamy and polyamorous, okay? So polygamy is the practice of marrying multiple spouses, okay? So that's having multiple spouses. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that is not legal here. Okay, it's not legal here. If I'm not mistaken, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure, but if I'm not mistaken, marrying more than one person is not legal here. It's actually against the law. But I thought that there was a man who had a reality show and he had multiple wives. But I think that was like in Oklahoma or a different state, so I guess it would matter. But polygamy is the practice of marrying multiple spouses, where polyamory is the practice and support of maintaining committed and romantic relationships. Okay, so that's two different things. Okay, polygamy is the fact that you will have multiple spouses, which if you guys, let me give you an example. Ooh, that was a good little, that was okay, period. There's a guy, I don't know if you guys have heard of Yada Awakening. I think that's his little nickname on Facebook. But Yada is somebody who would practice polygamy because he has multiple wives. But let me just tell you, his and I think this is kind of what keeps him out of trouble. His wife, his real wife, or not his real wife, but his main wife lives here in the US, and his second wife because Miss Victoria said it's legal abroad. So his second wife lives in Africa. So he would be an example of someone who practiced polygamy. So please keep that in mind as we continue with the conversation today, that polygamy is marriage, okay? That is the act of, in your mind, having multiple spouses, where polyamory is you entertaining multiple romantic partners intimately, okay? Also, too, polyamory is what's going to allow the women to interact intimately with each other. Polygamy, the wives are not interacting with each other. Okay, so do we understand that? Put one in the chat over here if you guys understand the difference between the definitions so we could move on. I just don't want people to be confused about the two things, because then you will kind of see what's running rampant, what you see majority of online. Put one in the chat. Let me know. Let me just make sure before I move on. And I need to remember that polyamory is the sharing of multiple committed partners, and polygamy is the marriage of multiple spouses. All right. I got 14 viewers over here. You guys hit the like button. Y'all scared? Y'all don't like conversations? Listen, if somebody would like to also come up and you over here on TT, you can definitely come up if you participate in poly. Okay. I only want somebody on my stage that is actually in a poly relationship. Okay. So I'll bring you up. Hey, Miss Boosie. Thank you for the like. Okay. So I would have to look 33 as I say that. And I think me seeing that 33 is a sign that if you are doing any relationship outside of monogamy, it does take a level of maturity. It takes a level of ascension to even participate in those type of relationships, right? So I'm glad I saw that number 33 because I think anybody that whether you are polyamorous or whether you are practice polygamy, you have to have some level of maturity for it to work out. Okay. Now, if I can show by a show of hands, putting one in the chat, how many of y'all would even consider being in a poly relationship? Miss Victoria, would you consider being in a poly relationship? And if so, which one? If you would be in a poly relationship, which one would you choose? Let me know by putting a one over here if this is something that you would be considering. Okay, I'm just trying to see where we are tonight with people that's in the room in terms of this. Okay, let me continue. So we're going to be talking about polyamorous relationships, and is that a gateway or a bridging of the gap with infidelity and cheating? Because if you guys haven't noticed, there's some poly relationship reality shows. Have y'all seen the poly relationship reality shows? The reality show? Yeah, they're poly relationship reality shows now. And in one of these relationships on the show, the guys and the girls are always arguing over position, always arguing over time, always argue, So what I'm saying is social media is making it very popular, but not polygamy. I don't see a lot of polygamy. I see a lot of polyamory. I see a lot of threesome actions, girlfriend, boyfriend, romantic things. Now, that could mean my algorithm is just off. And you may see more, polygamy type situations, but me, social media is really running rampant when it comes to polyamory. So a reading came out. I'll tell you guys why this conversation. And again, you guys, this has to be more than an echo chamber. You know what I'm saying? You really gonna have to engage in this conversation because I have not participated ever in those activities. 44, as I say that, somebody could be being angelically protected from even going down that route. But I feel like a lot of you guys, and I've been told this multiple times, have been approached by poly couples. Okay, so let me know in the chat, or you can let me know by likes. Have you guys been approached by poly couples before? And what was that experience like? Just think that in your mind. You may not want to say nothing. You may not want to, put that out there. But in your mind, if you were approached by a poly couple, what went through your mind? What were you thinking about? Okay, I'm not telling you that it's one way that's better than the other, but I am initiating the conversation to put the thoughts out there as we see this grow, as we see these type of relationships trending, as we see these type of things becoming more popular amongst the people, especially on social media. Is that something? Because I've been hearing people even say, I can't find my own man, I'm about to join a couple. I can't find my own man, I'm about to join a couple. I've been hearing people say that. Okay. So in my personal opinion, and it being scriptural, we saw what? Who did we see? We saw Rachel and Leah married the same guy, right? In scripture. We saw Isaac, Solomon has had multiple wives. So we do know that polygamy, yeah, polygamy was practiced in Bible days. But have you noticed that when people are making a stance for the poly lifestyle, that the first thing they use is the Bible? However, I will also make a note that the same individuals that bring up scripture to validate their desire to live in a poly relationship also do not practice polygamy. They practice polyamory, right? So I think it's very strange and kind of like side eye if a person uses polygamy to practice polyamory. You don't have any intentions on securing the woman as your wife or these women as your wives. However, you're using scripture where those women were wives to validate why you and your woman like to sleep with multiple different people, right? That's just my opinion. Now, if you're somebody here that is actually practicing marriage, I can respect that because you do have that sanctity and that covenant in mind when you do that. But for you to use the scripture and you not married to your first wife and she got a girlfriend and she got a girlfriend and it's 4 or 5 of y'all shacking up, it's just kind of, it just to me don't sit right. So, right now there's a guy trending on Facebook. He has 4 wives, recruited another, but they're not married. So y'all not gonna get y'all not gonna get in here and say nothing. Y'all just gonna listen. Big Pink, thank you for coming in here, Big Pink. So Big Pink, this conversation has came up multiple times. We have discussed polyamorous relationships. Not only did it come out in our readings, right? But we have talked about it. So tonight I wanted to bring it up. So I'm so glad at least somebody in here from my team popped up. So Miss Alicia, what do you agree on? Because you're saying you agree. So, you agreeing on, yeah, the people on social media practicing polyamory. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of polyamory relationships. So just in case you just popped in, I differentiated what polyamory was, which is polyamory is the intimacy and romantic commitment of multiple people, whereas polygamy is the marriage, like having multiple spouses. Okay, so those are two different poly situations. But what I am seeing is an upspout, is an explosion of polyamory people. So you got a bunch of people who lack the ability to get into marriages, practices, sleeping, and sexual experiences. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. And Miss Victoria said it is legal abroad. It is legal abroad. So, yeah. I thought I was going to get some people in here that would be on that. I thought maybe I didn't advertise it long enough because I thought I would have people in here really talking about this. So I will tell you guys, the one time I considered it because this person brought the conversation so smooth to me, right? Like this person, he was like, I'm gonna get married and I'm gonna have multiple wives. And he was like, they're gonna have their budget. You're gonna have a budget every month. You're going to know what states and cities we're gonna travel in. I mean, this person, the way he had laid it out, he was like, I'm not leaving nowhere without you. You will always be with me. We're gonna be in this city, this state, this city, this state. You're gonna have this monthly amount of stipend. And he just was like running down his program. And I was like, oh, okay, okay. Because it sounded very organized, it was detailed. And in his mind, it was about him reproducing. Okay. So what I've noticed is that the masculines that seem a little bit more balanced in being able to pull off this type of dynamic is more interested in making children, reproduction, okay, versus building connections for just to have romance, okay. The majority of responsible people that I'm seeing converse about the topic are more into reproduction, okay. So a lot of these men are really wanting to have multiple children, build and foster a community where the funds circle between each other, and where they are building up the legacy of that masculine, that particular masculine, utilizing the sisterhood as a way to offset the responsibility. Yes, they want to have a lot of kids by it. So Alicia's saying they want to have a lot of kids by different women. I don't think that they want to have a lot of kids by different women. I think they want to have a lot of kids, and they understand the pressure that it can be put on a woman's body and mental health. You know, with this new season and new times, a lot of women are going into postpartum. A lot of women are, having issues bouncing back after pregnancy. So I think a lot of these men are not looking at it as having babies by multiple women, but reproducing and not putting all that responsibility on one woman. And I just think that would be the responsible intention behind it. I couldn't see a man just saying, I want to have a baby by 50 different women. But let me respectfully agree with you on that, Alicia. I do believe some men reproduce with women out of selfishness, okay, as in trapping women or wanting a woman to be connected with them, and have no intentions on promoting or fostering any type of legacy or financial support. Now, that's the irresponsible part of it. The empire they want to build as well. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I don't want to keep bringing up the karmic side of the situations, you guys. We all know that there is a downside to what we're talking about. But for the sake of maturity and emotional intelligence, I think we can have the conversation on the higher level. Okay, let's just go ahead and not even consider the karmic side of it, the lower South Node side of it. Let's look at it as if there was somebody here in this audience that just might consider this. What can we do to foster a safe environment for somebody to be educated about this relationship dynamic, in order for them to make the best decision, right? Without judgment and without our personal opinion. And that's what I want to use this room for today. So that's why I brought up my own, conversation and experience with it, because there'll be some women that won't be afforded the opportunity to practice a monogamous marriage because of where they live. Maybe there's not enough men. Maybe the men there are not as qualified to be providers, or something like that. And maybe the person's only option could be is a polygamy situation. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I said let's kind of keep it on the high note. Some of these women, respectfully, especially the ones that we see on social media, always crying and always fussing, instead of bashing men, why don't they be open to consider joining a poly community? You know what I'm saying? If men are so bad and they're this and they're that and it's negative, then why don't they go towards dating someone else?
She is a doll.
You know?
She's a doll.
That's my thing.
I swear she looked like Tierra.
Okay. So what else? Okay, you said no. You said I should. You said I should. What about you, Miss Alicia? Maybe Miss Alicia over here said you should. You should consider. What about you? What about you? Was that something that you would consider? Let me know. Let me know, Miss Alicia. Let me see. Big Pink, I know that is not something you consider. Most of my TT family, they're not into that. I already know it. Okay. But again, it is a growing trend. Okay. It is a growing trend. It is out here. And maybe just one day your daughter, your son, your cousin, your auntie, your nephew will be presented with that choice, or with that dynamic. So that's something to consider. Okay. Now so no, the messages are popping up late. That's not the statement I was referring to. Oh, okay. Oh, so Miss Alicia is saying no. That's something she's not into. Do I have anybody in either one of these rooms that would be even willing to consider this? Because I would love to speak on the dynamic of why you should consider it. But ain't no need in me speaking on it if there's no one in here that's going to be considering it, because I don't want to project. Okay. But here's the, let me do, while you're thinking about if this is something you would consider, do you think that this is a form of energy siphoning as well? Let's say that you be presented with a polyamory situation, because I've been presented with the situation that's like polyamory, and I definitely felt like it was energy siphoning. In my opinion, some of these poly dynamics are opportunities to siphon energy. Yeah. Yeah. Have y'all thought about that? Hey, Gilda, I see you guys just popping in here. You guys, this is literally a topic about poly relationships versus monogamy. Okay. So we know that everybody really desires, let me not say everybody, most people really desire to have a monogamous relationship. But if that was something that seemed far off, would you consider dating someone who had multiple wives or dating somebody who had multiple committed relationships? Nobody's going to answer. Okay, well, I'll just come back with this conversation when there are people that's into it. There's a girl on Instagram, she's into polyandry. Okay, now that's something I didn't bring up. Okay, so we talked about polyamory, we talked about polygamy, but the women had to get on it, and there's a thing called polyandry. So you got poly for women, where women would have multiple husbands. Yeah, yeah. And it is legal in Africa. They just made it legal for a woman to have multiple husbands. That's called polyandry. And what I found, this is why I have my side eye when it comes to poly relationships, is because a lot of these men you're going to find out are not poly. Because when you get into the poly community, it should be acceptable for any type of polyamory, polygamy, polyandry, right? If you call yourself a man, if you call yourself somebody that's practiced polyamory, but you don't accept polyandry, then you're really not a person into poly. You know what I'm saying? Then you're not into poly. If you are closed off to opening up to the thought of women dating multiple men, then you are not poly. And that's what I also see a lot of. I see men who say they are poly, who say they are polyamorous, but they don't accept the poly community for real, because the thought of a woman having multiple men is downplayed. It's downplayed. So imagine a man saying, "Oh, I'm poly. I got multiple women. We all in the same house." But then when it comes to saying, "Oh, well, women can also participate in that community, having multiple men," and then that person shuts down. Well, wait a minute. We thought you was poly, sir. We thought that you were in the community of poly. Doesn't sound like you're in the community of poly. It sounds like you're in the community of being a player. Because the poly community accepts the poly lifestyle. It doesn't matter what the dynamic of that poly situation is. Am I making sense? Let me know. Put one in the chat. You feel me? Because I think that's the prejudiceness of it. That's the downfall of it. Miss Nancy said, "Not me." Miss Nancy said, "Not her." Okay, Pink, you get it. You get it. Okay, period. So I got some people letting me know they get it. Yeah. And I think that's why the conversation can't be had, because I think for real people are taking this opportunity to abuse a situation just like they do everything else. I think that claiming to be poly and knowing you don't accept the whole poly community is just a way for you to have multiple women and make it safe for you while ignoring the whole community. Go on. Okay. So that's my thought on the first part of it. He approves. Big Pink said he approves. I'm sure he would. I'm sure he would. Out of here. Bye, Bree. That's a distraction. Sorry, y'all. Bye. Downstairs place. So, again, I think that just like with monogamy is an opportunity for people to use to abuse the situation, y'all. I'm really starting to believe nobody goes into these opportunities because that's what I feel like these type of relationships could be, right? Especially one, thank you, Holy Spirit. I think especially if you are looking to resolve or solve the infidelity issue, right? Let's say you married, or yeah, let's say you the main spouse, you the first spouse, and your husband just continues to show you that he or she is not a one man, one woman situation, right? You keep falling into these infidelity situations that is destroying your relationship and connection. And maybe just that conversation or the resolution, especially when you don't want to lose your marriage, could be talking about bringing a second wife onto the thing. But again, that's a resolution. You see what I'm saying? Uh, but if the person is not mature and if the person is not mature, then it's just going to be another opportunity for them to abuse the lifestyle. You understand what I'm saying? So really, I think technically when we're getting into the conversation about poly and monogamous, it's going to be the maturity of the individuals. It's going to be the maturity of all of the individuals involved in any situation, whether you're monogamous or whether you are into polygamy and polyamory and polyandry. All right. So let's just do a recap for those of you that just popped in. Understand that poly involves a multitude of communities, women who are married to multiple men, men who are married to multiple women, and polyamory is being committed intimately to a group of people. Okay. So, me personally, I just think that it's a way to abuse the lifestyle. So do we have anybody in here in a poly relationship? Put 1 in the chat if you are in a poly relationship. Put 2 in the chat if you could openly consider being a part of the relationship or being a part of the connection. Being a part of it. If you would consider it. If you would think about it. Do I have anybody that's on the spectrum, like thinking about it? Your pinky toe, big toe is in the water of maybe joining the poly community. Anybody? Shit, then what we having this conversation for? Y'all out there lying like a mug. Y'all out there lying like some of y'all are probably involved in a poly situation and don't even know it. Okay? Like your man is already doing some type of infidelity anyway. So you saying, oh, well, I won't consider being in a poly relationship, but you kind of already in a poly relationship because your man is dealing with 2, 3, 4, 5 different men or women. So you saying you wouldn't consider it, but it's very possible that you're already in one. All right. So since we don't have none of y'all that would even consider it, y'all gonna find y'all a husband. Y'all just know, or you willing to, be single for the rest of your life. If you don't find a husband, we can go on and talk about monogamy. We can go, since majority of y'all ain't married and you like, I'm okay with being single for the rest of my life because I'll never share a man, or you okay with waiting forever, or whether you're not waiting or you're waiting. So you guys are telling me that if the relationship doesn't pop off, if you don't find a man, if you don't find a wife, you're gonna be single and you just gonna date and just leave it at that. So that's where y'all at with it. Y'all would never even be open to considering the lifestyle at all. You like, if I can't have him or her to myself, I'm never gonna get married, or you know what I'm saying, or that's just not an option. Is that how y'all really feel? And is that a personal problem with ownership, thinking that you own somebody? Like, I just have so many questions. And again, I don't have a bone in the dog fight. Me personally, I know I could be in a polygamy. Polygamy. The fuck is it? Let me get the right pronunciation. Okay. Polygamy. Okay. I personally feel like I could be in a polygamy situation, but I would have to be the first wife. I would not go into somebody's marriage as the second wife. And if I went in as the second wife, the reward, the payment would have to be so significant. So the only clause that I would have to be is I would have to be the first wife. Yeah. Cause they know I like what I like. My program has to run the way that it runs. And I'm sure that there'll be people that would appreciate the type of program that I run, but I would not be able to adapt to another woman's program. So I would never be the second wife. That's just me. That's my thing, my stance. And that's just me. But yeah, I would fuck with it. I would want my own space, my own budget, my own house, my own life. And we would roll out and do what we need to do. But I would never be the second wife. It would never happen. It would never, ever, ever, ever happen. Okay? Yeah. I definitely always give main character. I definitely have main character energy. You know what I'm saying? If you are main character energy, I couldn't see y'all being a second and third wife. You feel me? I'm just saying for real, y'all. Now just think about that though. I'm just saying, y'all, come on now, let's be fair. Just think if you was the first wife and you could set it up, the program, according to how your husband accepts other wives, right? If you could dictate, not necessarily be a dictator, but you could set up the rules and the regulations for bringing other mature women into the fold, why wouldn't you? To monopolize off of opportunities so you wouldn't have to have multiple babies. I would definitely consider it, especially in my old age. You know what I'm saying? I probably got maybe one more good one in me, black. But after, I'm talking about children, I got one decent push to go. After that, I'm not giving nobody no more motherfucking babies. And as a matter of fact, I don't even want you at my house every day. You know what I'm saying? I personally don't want to wake up to you every day. You know what I'm saying? If I wanted to wake up to a man every day, I would have been married 20 years ago. Feel me? It is definitely not in my stars to have to look at a motherfucker every single day. You know? I'm definitely okay with a man having his own space, having his own situation, and you aligning with the program. But you guys, this comes with maturity. And I really do want you to consider this, you guys, especially, you don't have to. We're going to talk about monogamy. And I'm sure there are plenty of men that would love to marry you and that are monogamous. So I'm not saying that there are not many men that want to get married. However, you got to think about it. Rich men can afford polygamy. You see what I'm saying? I think that marriage sometimes can go against the lifestyle of the woman. A lot of marriages are built off of struggle and compromise and 50-50. I think polygamy, is that what the fuck it is? I'm sick of it already. Okay, polygamy. Okay, I think polygamy leaves room for you to upgrade. Okay, because a man who really wants to practice polygamy, having multiple spouses, have to make the income to support multiple spouses. If you think about what a spouse is, right? If you think about what the husband role is. Now, if he's into polyamory, he gonna have multiple girlfriends and he don't have to do nothing. He could be somebody that the women do everything for the man. Well, if you're somebody that subscribes to a man being a provider, a man, you know what I'm saying, then that leaves room for saying this man is willing to go out and make this amount of money because he knows he has to provide for these women. You know what I'm saying? And it not only gives that person drive, but it gives that person a goal to attain. And it also ensures that you're taken care of. Marriage does not. Respectfully, I'm just going to say marriage, monogamous relationships do not ensure that you are financially provided for. We know many marriages that are in struggle positions for struggle love. However, if a man adopts the lifestyle of polygamy, there is a level of financial stability that has to happen. So if you are considering marriage, are you in the field of dating up? Are you in the field of acquiring somebody who can provide for your stability? Or will you get married for the name of marriage and then be stuck in some shit that you wish you would have never got in? And I'm just posing. Listen, I don't have a bone in the fight, but I'm just telling you. I could do monogamy too, though. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. I could do monogamy. I could be one man's wife. You know, my man could have one wife too, you know. But then what he gonna do when I don't feel like doing this, that, and the third, or when I'm busy, or when I'm, you know, I don't know. I could do monogamy. I really could, but I think it would get boring. I think it would get boring. I'm 50. It may be different for a 20-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 30-year-old, not 15, excuse me, a 20-year-old, a 25-year-old. It's going to be different from 50 years old. The things that I was doing, the drive that I had, the get up and go that I had 20 and 30, it's long gone, baby. Okay? So me, I don't have any children. I don't have no responsibilities. I don't have no debt. I don't have nobody that I need to answer to. The opportunity for me to live a very free lifestyle doesn't require me to be monogamous. I literally can be very fluid in what I do. So, but that's my case. And a lot of you guys are not in that position. And a lot of you guys are not in the position of being, you know, older and being without a lot of baggage. I don't come with that. I don't have any small children. I don't have any grandchildren. I don't have any debt, you know, any mortgages, any credit debt. So again, the fluid lifestyle allows me to be able to have a level of freedom that I think monogamy will not afford, because monogamy would put me back in that domesticated lifestyle, right? Monogamy would require me to cook, clean, maintain, right? Baby, I'm you know, baby, maintain and cook for who? I don't got no kids. I don't have no grandkids. What I'm gonna cook for? One man and what? After that, we go eat by the side of the we go sit in front of the TV and then we eat and then after we eat, we go to sleep and shit, like, you know what I'm saying? I think for me, being 50 years old and being in a monogamous relationships will put me back in domestication, and I've already been domesticated and I'm not doing that. So that's something to consider. If you domesticated, if you want to be domestic, like I said, I think this is such an amazing topic. And what I should have did was I should have had multiple people here with me today to discuss this, because this is such a beautiful opportunity to bring things to the forefront, because I'm pretty sure there's not too many podcasters, there's not too many relationship and dating coaches or dating platforms, you know, where people talk, that will have my opinion. You know what I'm saying? That will look at things like I do. And so I think we'll revisit this conversation with the poly and the monogamy, where I can invite some people, because I really think that my point of view should be heard. And I really want to hear other people's, you know, opinion. Like, why would you choose polyamory versus monogamy? Why would you choose monogamy versus polyamory? Why would you choose polyamory versus polygamy? You know what I'm saying? Why would you choose, you know, this instead of polyandry? I think there's so many choices and options. And you guys, by the way, the readings that I have been doing has been coming out with these 7 of Cups energy, these options for you. And so when you think about leveling up, when you're thinking about growing, when you're thinking about being a star seed, when you're thinking about being a light worker, you have the ability to shape your life according to the way that you feel and according to the way that you are purposed, not what society tells you is acceptable. And many of us have been programmed that the American dream is marriage, is the white picket fence, and is going to work every day or building some type of long-term domesticated lifestyle. And that has been the American dream. But as you can see, the American dream is crumbling right in front of our eyes, right in front of our face. The housing market is being depleted. The rental market is impacted. The transportation market is impacted. The health market is impacted. People are consuming. People are actually being eliminated at a high rank for diseases and STIs and STDs. Like, the American dream is literally drowning right in front of our face. And I don't know many of you if you still have the idea of the whole Barbie Ken lifestyle or the married lifestyle that we were brought up when we played house, or when we were taught what the wife is and the son, the daughter is and the son is and the dad is at that time, right? We were taught that. We were programmed to play dolls and play house. Why weren't we taught to play investment or play travel? Why were we taught to play house at an early age? Why we weren't taught how to do play investments? You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of weird how initially we were programmed immediately how to play house. Of all things we could have been programmed to play, we were programmed to play house. So yeah. But you guys, this is a 45-minute talk. No one's talking, no one's engaging. You guys wanted to hear me talk. It's cool. But I really I'm going to reach out to some people. I'm going to bring some poly people on that I know is in these relationship dynamics. And I'm going to reach out to them, and we'll come back and have this conversation. And maybe it might make y'all feel a little bit more comfortable if we have a panel of individuals that is conversing about the education part of it. But I do want to let you know that, especially if you are a masculine in this talk today, or you are somebody that has aligned or is aligned with a masculine that has talked like this, listen to them. Listen to the person that is bringing this to you to see if this is something that you could get with. It takes it takes a mature woman and man to be able to do this, y'all. It takes a mature woman and man. All right, so Danny is saying, I feel like if you find that one person that is in your heart, even if they are countries away, I'm glad you said that. Let me wait for the rest of it to come in. Hey, Sugar. Welcome in, Sugar. Hey, baby. All right, so Danny is saying, if you feel like you have that one person that's in your heart, and even if they are countries away, and you know what, y'all, I'm going to have to tell y'all something. I totally agree, but I've never dated outside of my culture and my race, but that should be something that, people should get the experience of it. But I do understand, yeah. But are you saying, Danny, that you would consider taking on multiple wives? I think that's what Danny is saying. I think that Danny is saying that if you find somebody that's in your heart and they are countries away or they are in a different state, that, having the thought of adding that person to your family or, could be good. So I think with the masculine energies, if you guys ever wanted to have this conversation with your person, have all your shit planned out. Like, have it, how is it going to work? How is it going to benefit that lady that you're going to? Okay, so Sugar said no poly for me. I hear you, my love. All right. How is it going to work out for you? Have that already planned out, masculines. If you guys are one, because let me tell you something. I wasn't offended when that person brought that conversation up to me. It kind of made me feel some kind of way when Big brought that to the table. to hear him sound so ready, prepared, knowledgeable. Um, this the way it was brought to me was that he had thought about it. It wasn't just, a reckless and impulsive thing. This was something that this person had thought about. And like I said, the stipend, how much it was going to take to run your house or to do the things that you need, that's already established in that person's mind. Also, too, if that person got the second wife or the third wife pregnant, well, how would that benefit you, right? If you're a wife, right, especially the number one wife, what benefit is it for you for these other women to get pregnant, right? That's their benefit. That's the legacy with your husband. So the idea is masculines, you reproducing with these other feminine energies. What benefit is it of that first wife or that first person? Have that already in the mind, right? Especially if you're a breeder. If you're somebody that wants to breed and have a large family, if you're somebody here that wants to have multiple children, you got to make it to where your children are a benefit to your wife, period. Or else, what the fuck else is he's supposed to care, about the children? Like, it needs to be a benefit, as to why this person should be okay with you bringing more expenses, more mouths to feed. And there's multiple benefits. For one, the idea of growing the trust, of growing the legacy is there. The idea of each one of these children, when they come to the age of around 12 or 13, the trust or the family business can pay them, and it'll be a tax break. There are tax cuts that you are able to take advantage of, right? Especially if you are a wealthy family or you're a family that has wealth. Each child that comes in could potentially create a new stream of income by buying certain IRAs, by buying certain heavy interest form savings, right? Of course, that will be for the kid, but it could also be for the business as well, right? Because you could cash out on those life insurance policies, those RIA policies, and also those children will be able to work at a young age for the tax benefit and tax breaks. So again, knowing this conversation and stuff like that matters. Okay. Uh, facts. I think that's what somebody's saying. Insurance policy, trust, banking, finance, recycling that. But again, understanding what the benefit is, not to just the mother of that child, but also all of the women involved, and especially the first one. Because if it's not going to be a benefit, I couldn't see why that person would condone it anyway. But I mean, unless she absolutely loved children and she couldn't have any or something like that, that could be a benefit. But yeah, just making sure that you're able to state the benefit of why a child being brought into the family unit benefits that woman. Otherwise, don't nobody give a damn about them kids like that. Okay, I'm just saying. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. We've been doing this for 1 hour. Second and third generation breeding. Keep it in the family. Second and third generation breeding. Ooh, baby, what you mean by that? Because I'm a little kind of like take me a minute to process some. Second and third generation breeding. So Sugar said Johnny Hopkins and Jesse. Let's look them up. Johnny Hopkins and Jesse. Who was them? Are they in a poly connection? John Burnett and Rory Chapman. So are these individuals that are in those type of dynamics? Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, you guys, that's my opinion. That's my thought. I just wanted to put that out there because we can have grown people conversations like this, you guys, without it turning toxic, without it getting offensive. And we can, have these responsible conversations. Same father, different mother. Oh my God. Good luck giver said same father, different mother, and then the sister and brothers get married to have children. Oh my. Wait, that's a little bit about that. I wasn't prepared. So you're telling me that some people that's in polyamory situations do that for second and third generational breeding? And does that happen in the US or is that just in Europe? Because I do believe that's a thing. But I don't know about the sister and brother thing. But I do believe I've heard something like that before. Intentional polyamory, the Amish. That's what that is. I knew I had heard about that shit somewhere. Well, they've been trying to escape them Amish families for years. No disrespect, and not me talking on them people because I really don't know nothing about them. But there's Amish people that want to get away from that dynamic there because that's some shit there now. Now, mind you, I didn't watch that reality show and that girl was trying to escape. She was trying to run away from that shit now because her mother and all this, and they marrying people at 13 and 12 and stuff like that. Now, that's a little bit too far for me. I think that's a little bit more. I think that what you talking about is just it's you just took it there. You just threw this whole baby. That's too close to incest to me. Polygamy is legal in 3 states. Utah. I know. Oh, I think it's yeah, because that reality show was on, and he had to move to a state where it was legal or something like that in order for them to do it. But he ended up getting a divorce. Remember that guy who had all those sister wives? Was it called Sister Wives on TLC? I think he ended up getting divorced from 2 of those women. So I think he had 4 wives. The guy from TLC, he had 4 wives, but I think he's gotten a divorce, 2 of them. Because baby, let me tell you something. Trying to run 4 households, baby. Trying to run 4 households, that's just too much. And I'm sorry, good luck, but even though you did bring that up, that's too much like wrong for me. The second, third generation intermarriage, that's just a little weird. Because I got second and third cousins that I talked to, and I couldn't even imagine them saying, well, will you marry me or something like that? Let's keep that in the family or something like that. That's just, I don't know. I never even thought about it like that, and I don't even think I want to think about it, but you did bring up a very valid fact. So what was brought up over here, just to let you guys know, they say the Amish practice polyamory, and they do second and third generational intermarriage. The Amish. The Amish. Yeah. So you guys, I just wanted to bring the topic too. I think we're going to be talking about this a lot. Okay. Not my thing. It's contribution. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Because I didn't even consider that, but to leave that out would be ignorant. So I do appreciate you from inserting that, because actually I did forget about that, but maybe that's because that's just too much. But yeah, that's something to consider. The Amish do practice second and third generational intermarriage, and they do practice polyamory. They do. But again, I think this having a safe space to open up the conversation respectfully, where all perspectives are considered, honored, and discussed, is valuable. Because if not, people are going to be getting bamboozled. If we don't start having these conversations, people are literally going to be getting bamboozled. So having a safe space, bringing this to the forefront, letting people know it's okay, even if you are considering it. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're practicing that, letting people know nobody's out here really judging you guys like that, for real. Not for real. Unless y'all one of those energy siphoning ass couples. Because I didn't get into that today. But it's some energy vamps that's in these relationships, but I ain't gonna get into it today. All right. I'm out of here, you guys. Listen, this Thursday, our next topic in the second episode from the Trending Psychic is going to be, is mental health facilities and psych wards being weaponized? All right. And we're going to bounce that off of the Alice Boland story. So if you enjoy trending conversations like this one, join me again. Our next talk will be on Thursday at the same time. If you're on my email list, you will get an email blast letting you know when the topic is. If you'd like to join my email list, how to do that is in my about section. Make sure you guys are tapping in so you can be alerted as to the next conversation. But I will see you guys with the next trending psychic topic, which is mental health facilities and psych wards being weaponized? The Alice Boland story. Thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you for contributing. And I hope to see you again next time. All right. Have a beautiful night, you guys. Bye. Bye, YouTube.